The unknown is always scary, but not nearly as much as waking up one morning realizing you have wasted your precious life in pursuit of someone else's idea of success. I choose the unknown every time. Wow, what an incredible quote from Simu Liu in his book, We Were Dreamers, where he talks about that arduous journey he took to become Marvel's first Asian American superhero. And if you're still listening, watching at this point, I imagine that quote probably resonated with you too. The thing is, choosing the unknown is something most of us are terrified to do, because a lot of us grew up learning the opposite lesson. Choose the stable job, choose the sensible career, choose the thing that looks the most impressive on paper. And to be fair, a lot of these expectations, especially for those from immigrant families, come from a place of love. Because let's face it, a lot of families who struggle to make it to this new land of opportunity, success wasn't defined by passion, it was defined by security, predictability, stability, a life that felt safer than the one before it. So when someone says that they want to pursue something uncertain, whether it's in the arts, entrepreneurship, storytelling, in the creative space, it can sound reckless or naive. Maybe you're nodding your head here as I'm saying this. But the thing is, eventually, and I've seen this happen more than once, is that many people, they reach a moment where they have to ask themselves a difficult question. Am I building a life that feels meaningful to me, or am I simply living out someone else's idea of success? Now, one thing that's really important that I want to acknowledge here is that going after your passion, to have the opportunity to do that, it's a privilege. Not everyone has the same financial flexibility or a safety net. And for a lot of people, survival and responsibility have to come first. But I would challenge you to consider that there are options. Pursuing your passion doesn't mean blowing up your life overnight. Sometimes it can begin a lot smaller than that. It can begin with curiosity, a class after work, a creative project that you take on the side, a skill maybe that you slowly start to develop. And I promise you that those small decisions that you start to take now will reshape your life in ways that you never expected. Because passion isn't just about doing something that you love. It's about giving yourself permission to explore who you could become. When I was on the cusp of turning 30 years old, I chose to walk away from an entire identity I spent years crafting, working in the tech industry. I had equity in the company I was working for, making six figures, a great title, but there was an itch that I'd always wanted to scratch, and I knew I had to go after it, or I'd live a life filled with regret. And so I threw myself wholeheartedly, after a lot of soul searching, into my career in broadcast journalism. And that's something that we talk a lot about on the O-Word podcast, this idea of reclaiming who we are, of reclaiming our sense of purpose. And I've come to see this from interviewing so many people in this business. It's that the people that we admire the most often didn't begin their journeys with a lot of certainty. They began with a lot of doubt, with a lot of pressure, with a lot of people around them questioning them, asking, who do you think you are? You want to be an actor? You're 40 and you want to go to medical school? But they also had the courage to ask a different question, which is, what if I am willing to try? So if there's something in your life right now that is pulling at your curiosity, something that feels scary but a little exciting, and your gut is telling you, I think I could be really good at this if I just give it a shot, I want you to pay attention to that, because those quiet nudges can often be where our most meaningful moments begin. So if any of this resonates with you about ambition, risk, building a life that feels truly yours, I would love for you to follow the O-Word on social media and anywhere you get your podcasts for more reflections and conversations with people who have done exactly that. Remember, your ambitions and your dreams aren't something to shrink. You can unlock the power of them with the right motivation and support. I'll see you later.